You need to set up your own web server. You need your own website. Websites are cool. You get to own your own little corner of the internet. And to set up your own website and not pay someone else to do it on your server that you already have because you followed all these other videos, you need to first set up a web server. Let's go through how to get our own little corner of the internet, shall we? So we're going to talk about installing the web server, some very, very basic configurations. Most of the time the default configuration is just fine. Getting a little green lock that everyone checks for these days. So like all the people will be like, oh, this website's not going to steal my details. And some very basic HTML, which is the language of the web page. So step one, log on to your server that you have because you've watched my other video, and hopefully you've also got a domain name because you've watched this video. I'm on my server now, More Vim, More Gym. So I'm going to build a website for morevimmoregym.com. First of all, you need to install a web server. We are going to install the Apache web server. On Rocky Linux, which you will have installed if you followed my guide, the package is called HTTPD, so HTTP daemon. Other web servers are available, Nginx, that sort of thing, they're all fine. I'm going to choose Apache because it's what I've used forever. So let's go ahead and install that. DNF, install, HTTPD, enter. Alright, there we go, so it installs a bunch of Apache mods as well, but that's fine. Why? Yes. Okay. We have now installed a web server. Isn't Linux wonderful? It's that easy to just install something. It blows my mind every time. If this was Windows, you'd have to go, oh, click a bunch of things. Sorry. Let me just prove to you it's installed. There you go. HTTPD, the Apache HTTP server. It's dead at the moment. That's fine, though. We haven't started it. Let's try and start it. Systemctl start. Let's check the status again. Okay, it's running. Fantastic. Listening on port 80. So let's go to More Vim, More Gym and see what we have. More Vim, More Gym. Here we go. We get the HTTP server test page. Powered by Apache. Powered by Rocky. It's cool. So this is part of the Apache package. We now have this. So I am the admin. What do I do?
You may now add content to the web root directory for your software. The system's using Apache, you can add content to the directory via www.html. Till you do so, people that are visiting this website will see this page. If you'd like this page not to be shown, follow the instructions here.
Wow, it even tells us what to do. So, let us go to that directory. cd var www.html. Nothing in here at the moment, but everything in here will be your website. So, let us write a home page. So, home pages are generally called index.html. So, index.html. Let's just put a simple header in here. So this is basic HTML. H1, header 1, the largest header. Hello, does this work? You gotta close the tags like this. Let's just refresh it. There you go. Don't even need to reload the web server. Hello, does this work? So this works. So now start adding basic pages. And you see here it doesn't say /index.html. That's because index.html is recognized as the base page, okay? So if this was home.html, for example, home.html, refresh, it goes back, right? So index.html, you can specify this in your configuration, but we're not going to touch that. Just index.html, it's the default, even for Nginx, whatever web server it will be. But so let's put that back. Unmove, nv home, index.html, there we are, yada yada. Okay, check that worked again. Cool. We've now got our basic web page working, but we want SSL, right? We want the little green tick. And to do that, you need to do a little bit more custom configuration. So we're going to need to do a virtual host here, and these are really useful if you want to have more than one domain on one website, okay? So currently, right now, anything that hits our server's IP address goes to our web root, right? So if I show you, morevimmoregym.com, if we just get the IP of that, so if we get this IP and we just put this IP into our web browser, we'd also get this, okay? So this is basically saying anything that goes to this IP displays what's in our web root. But we don't want that. We want anything going specifically to our domain, morevimmoregym.com, to go to the web root. To do that, we need a virtual host. And these are configured in this directory here. etc httpd conf.d. So this is any extra configuration on top of the default configuration for Apache. In here, just make a very simple file called whatever your domain is. It doesn't have to be, it can be anything, to be honest. I'm going to call it like that, though, morevim.conf, like so. Then we're just going to add a virtual host. So Apache configuration is written in XML, which is pretty grim, but in small manageable sections, it can be all right. So it looks a bit like HTML. So the first thing you want to do is virtual host, like this, on port 80. So this is port 80 is the default web port. Anything that hits port 80 will first get looked at this. Then you want to add the server name directive here. So this here is what I'm listening for. More Vim, more Gym. HTML.com. Document root, so where I'm going to look for, var www, and I'm going to make a new directory now called more vim more gym dot, just like that. Okay, let me go ahead and make that directory very quickly. Make the var www, so we've got HTML in there, more vim more gym, like so. Okay, once you've made that directory, go back into the config file. We need to make a directory thing statement that says the directory we just made, var www more vim more gym dot, without the quotes this time, and then we're just going to put in here require all granted, like this. This basically means give all the permissions to this directory, and then we close that like so, and then we're just going to close virtual host like this. Virtual host, there we are. So very, very basic, just to go over it. Virtual host port 80, default web port, server name morevinmoregym.com, whatever your domain is. Where are the files going to live? We need to grant that permissions, and there we are. So let me now go into var www and move HTML index into morevim.moregym. There we go. And now we have to reload HTTPD like this. Okay, let's just test that's working by editing the index a bit. P is a paragraph, so like not a heading. Wow. P. Wow. Okay, so it's working. So that's our basic page. But look, you see here it says it's not secure, right? So to secure a website, we need an SSL certificate, which is basically a certificate saying, yes, this domain is verified to be me. And those are provided by certificate authorities. Now, this is basically a scam, right? Certificate authorities are baked into your browser by default. So you can make your own certificate authority and register a certificate to yourself, but it won't be trusted. So sometimes, especially when you go to like internal sites, they will be secured and you have to click trust this certificate. That's because your certificate authority is not in your browser. So by default, browsers have like a lot of certificate authorities just baked into them because those certificate authorities were the first people to issue certificates. But anyway, so previously you had to pay one of those scammy companies to give you a certificate, but now we use Let's Encrypt because it gives you them for free, which is fantastic. So, how do you get a Let's Encrypt certificate? It's actually really easy. So they have their own little program for it. It's called certbot. So I'm going to install certbot here. So to do that, just DNF install certbot, like certtot, certbot, there we are. Okay. It's installing certbot for us. Very cool. We need to use the Apache plugin, so we actually need to go ahead and install that first. So the package name is Python 3 certbot Apache, so we need to also install that. There we are. Okay. And now run certbot -- Apache. So now enter email address used for urgent renewal and security notices. I'm going to put my own email in here. mark@mcnally.je. Don't put my email in there, please. It'd be a bit annoying. Please read the terms of service. Let's read those, shall we? Ha! Yeah, I read them. I read them off camera. Wink. Type Y to agree to them.
Would you be willing, once your first certificate is successfully issued, to share your email address with the EFF, a founding partner? Blah, blah, blah. I already have done that, and they spam you. No.
So now that we've done our virtual host here, you see it's detected it. So we want to enable HTTPS on morevinmoregym.com. So select one. Get certificate. It says, hello, please can I have a certificate, Mr. Let's Encrypt. And then certbot will actually say, yes, I exist. And there we go. So it's deployed certificate here. Certificate renew. Certbot has set up a scheduled task to automatically renew the certificate. So we do not need to manage this. So it expires in April, but it will auto-renew, which is very cool. And if we look just quickly, conf.d, this has actually created a new virtual host called -le Let's Encrypt SSL. So if we look at that, this is done, so it's loading the SSL module, and then on 443, which is the HTTPS port, the same sort of thing, but then this certificate here, okay? Which we didn't have to do, but it's installed our certificate for us. And then if we look at the old one, it's even modified this one. It's basically put these on, so rewrite engine on, rewrite condition, when the server name matches this, which it always will, it will add HTTPS to the start of it. So that means we can never access HTTP again because it will just be rewritten instantly. Let's try that. Refresh. Oh, what's this? We got a little green thing. It's not green, but that's because it's Chrome. But connection is secure. And let's take a look at the certificate, shall we? So we can see issued to more Vim, more Jim, issued by Let's Encrypt, and then we can check out some deets here. Issuer, so we can see a bunch of details here that, you know, might be interesting. But there we are. So we now have a secure website. Let's see if we can make it green by going to Firefox, shall we? It just doesn't like it being green anymore. But okay, there we are. But now you know you've installed a web server, you've got SSL on it, now all you need to do is go and make your website. Make it yours. If you look at mine, look how brilliant this is. Look at this, I've got a picture of my cat on it. Put a picture of your cat on it. I also have this proper website here, which is better, but whatever. I've got a blog on it, I've got a micro log on it. Mine even has login buttons because it's written in Python, but what's the point? It's hosted on Apache though, and it's got a little Let's Encrypt. But there you go. Make your website, use mine as inspiration. Like, you can change the color, because that's what it used to look like, which is garish. That's nice. If you subscribe to me, I'll sign the guest book on your website.